And welcome to another episode of Next Level Real Talk podcast here with Sheldon and David. David, how you doing?
Doing great. Great for another week. Been a great
Another,
week, and it was a great episode last week when we had Stephen on. So it was
yeah,
really fun to talk to him from Ireland to get
yes,
him
from
out here.
Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Yep.
Uh,
So
he gave us some great, tips, and we were talking about that the whole point of the podcast was to bring in different points of view, different
yep,
perspectives. That's why we call it, conversations on the journey of personal transformation, right? And the
yeah.
pursuit of lasting peace is
That's
like,
just different
um,
conversations because everybody sees something different. Like when we teach, we're told you want them to see it, to hear it, to do it. Because
yeah,
some kids see it,
yeah,
get it. Some kids have to actually hear it
yeah,
rather than see it. And some kids just actually doing the application. So some take all three, but
yep.
you have to include all three
The
in
more
order.
you can include all three, the better it is, the more it lands, right?
Exactly. And so that's what Shell's talking about. Conversations. Yeah, we have conversations, but it's so fun to bring in guests
Yeah.
because everything's different. So you
And
may hear what Steven said was like, oh, that was great. Or you heard what Corey said, one of our guests way before. That was awesome. Or what Reese said.
yeah,
All the guests are Sarah.
yeah,
Sarah, I got a lot out of Sarah's. So we have these different guests and know that their perspectives, you may say, it's not for me. That's great because
yeah.
we're all different, but it's how we apply them. It's not just listening.
Mm,
If you apply it,
absolutely. Yes.
that's the next step. Can I apply that to my life? No, that's not something I can really do. Well, the next conversation might be something.
Yeah, and that exactly, and that's why we have all these different
Yep.
perspectives because hey, we all, we could say, hey, we all want to be happier in our life, right? Could we use
Yep.
more joy, more laughter, more happiness? Sure. Well, how do you do that? Well, here's what I did, and what I did may or may not work for you, right?
Exactly.
And we could talk about different paths, different perspectives, different journeys, right? And so we wanted to make this as broad as possible with as many different perspectives because everyone will land differently for every person.
Yep.
And we're hoping that, with one of these stories, every person gets touched. And that's what we were always saying, right? I want to touch more people. And,
Yep.
and I'm always wanting to touch, millions or thousands or whatever, right? And we're like, hey, if one person, if
hmm
that story landed with one person, and that person said, wow, I tried that thing, or that perspective opened up my mind a little and helped me to see things differently, or find some peace, find some joy. What a beautiful thing that is, right?
Yeah. And it's not an overnight, it's not an instant thing that's going to
Hmm.
happen. It's
Right.
like you hear it like, oh, that's something I can use, and you start using it. It takes
Yeah,
time.
it takes.
So if it's an instant change, hallelujah. Let us know because we'd love to hear that story.
Yeah,
But
come on in and tell us your story.
because that's cool, but it doesn't happen to everybody, but
Right,
it takes time like practicing,
right.
um, and
We
applying it. And I have to say,
Can I
last
can I
week,
can I say
huh?
something? So in my work world, we had one of the guys, the trainer, had a saying, and he goes, and then we go to when we're training the whole team, like practice makes, and everybody goes perfect, and we're like, oh, I'm sorry, you've been lied to all these years. Practice just builds a habit. Better practice builds better habits, right? And so
Mhm.
what you practice matters, right?
Yes,
And so this is kind of what you're going to talk about, right? Is
exactly.
Stephen had some stuff. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So Stephen had, and to review real quick, he had the four quadrants. He had the high positive, high negative, low positive, and low negative. And at that point, it was like, okay, yeah, how do I apply this? And of course, he applies it. He has his clock goes off, his phone
Yeah.
rings 4 or 5 times a day. For me, it's kind of easy. The way I have used it is like one, we got bells ringing every 50 minutes.
Hmm.
Okay. And I got ambulances going back and forth because the hospital's right there. So every time I hear an ambulance, you're like, I do a quick little prayer for whatever the situation is in that ambulance.
Hmm.
And I'm like, where am I? And I do a little quick thing.
Hmm.
Last week, it came up several times. I was sitting there and I got a little stressed out about things going on. We had Future Freshman Night going on Thursday, and a lot of things come in to me to get done, like printing and copying and stuff like that. Because I have the only color copier on campus, and everything's got to be in color when you're having all the freshmen coming. So, um, and I started getting to that point. I was getting a little stressed. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not having that fun of doing the job. Yes, it's a job. It's things you don't like to do sometimes, but you still have to enjoy it. And I was at the point where like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm getting stressed. So I stopped a minute. I go, okay, where am I? Okay, I'm not going to do this week. I'm not going to worry about this. I had a
Yep.
plan with my
Yep.
student
Yep.
assistants. I told my student assistants, I said, guys, we're going to do this next week. We'll start Monday
Mhm.
because right now that's not a thing I need to worry about. I'm getting the worries of admin and other
Yeah.
teachers about what they need.
Yeah.
So let me focus on that this week. And next week we'll
And
start up.
and so from are you know, we can talk about this from different levels because I know you were reading a book, but you'd also from Stephen's, perspective, the 4 quadrants.
Hmm.
At first, you were in, like, high positive, you were just ripping along going,
Hmm.
and then it starts to become
High
stressful,
negative. Yeah,
anxiety, pressure, tension, right? All that stuff starts to creep in,
totally. Building up. Yep.
and but you notice it, right?
Hmm. Yeah. So I noticed it right away. It's going like, okay, here, this is building up. I don't want, it's making it not fun.
Yeah,
Now I'm stressing about,
yeah, yeah,
it's like, yeah, it's my job, but now I'm stressing about it.
yeah,
When I did okay, where am I? Okay,
yeah,
I'm doing this. Let's take this off the plate because it's not that I need right now. It's what I want to do right now, but this is important stuff in my job. So I'll go do this, but recognizing that I'm even just there
yes,
and going like, hey, I enjoy making those color copies or adjusting them. They'll send it to me like, okay, I got to fix this for you because it's not really working. So yes, it's work, but I'm enjoying helping them
mhm,
instead of like it's a task. Oh God, I gotta print these
yeah,
stupid things for them.
yeah,
Like no, oh cool, now I get to print them and make sure they're the right format, they fixed right. This is that, and so and I'm not missing details.
yeah,
Something came across and we printed it, and one of the student assistants and I noticed like these aren't. It was back to back, and they were like little tickets, and it's like they aren't matching up. And so we could have just cut them and said, that's
close
their
enough.
fault, not ours.
Yeah,
No, that's not how I work. First
yeah,
off, I want to
yeah,
make it right.
yeah,
And I was like, we were at the point to where I wasn't stressing about other stuff. I was enjoying the job. And Betsy's like, yeah, it doesn't work. She goes, what do we do? And so her and I figured it out together. We just needed to swap something.
yeah,
And so we made more copies
yeah,
differently.
yeah,
And so that's where you get to step back, get rid of the stress, negative, and see where you are
mhm,
and pick the part. Okay, what do I need to do to enjoy this job, this
mhm,
situation?
mhm,
And so that was really helpful this week. It was really,
yeah,
really helpful. And
and
so,
I think that from a big picture, the podcast and everything, people listening, there's when we talk about these conversations on the journey of personal transformation, right? There's information that's being conveyed. Stephen had some really beautiful information on the 4 quadrants and the the weeds, the 3 weeds and stuff like that, right? And you're like, okay,
yep.
cool. And you could take that as, oh, that's some information. You could write down your notes and then you could just go about your day and not apply any of it. And then
Hmm.
nothing changes in your life, right? And that's why, he was really adamant about, hey, set your alarm right now, start it right now. Let's do it right now. Make it
Yep.
get out your phone and start doing it. And because it's the application of whatever teaching that is, whether
Hmm.
that's, you know, um, prayer, meditation, better eating,
Yep.
exercise. It doesn't matter what the thing is,
Yep.
if you don't do it, but you read about it and you learn about it.
Like,
Hey,
oh, I want to do
look
that,
at
but
look at all that food you could eat, and that would be better for you. And you never change your diet. Well, guess what? You're still going to have problems with
yeah.
your health, right?
And
Or you read about a workout, you watch a video about a guy working out, and you never work out. You're not going to
it's
change, right? Your
no.
body won't change at all. But if you start applying stuff, right, then
Hmm.
that's kind of the same principle we've been talking about through this thing, right? Is that it's we want to share different perspectives because everyone will land differently with
Yeah.
people, and then that will be in their mind in a different way. And then for some people, they're like, "Hey, that's cool. I could do that." Versus
Yeah.
the other one doesn't land for you, right? And the thing
Like,
about Stevens was it was really beautiful. It was so simple, right?
yes.
And I
Just
think I do think there's
keeping it simple to where
yeah.
eventually it may be something big, but you can't start big,
Well,
you know?
the shift is profound, but the technique to get there is deceptively simple,
Yeah.
right? And I think that that's what some people oftentimes will uh, underappreciate how profound the shift can be in your essence,
Hmm.
in your beingness, by applying some tool that sounds too simple to be powerful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that
That's
that's
where you
what
have to
happens.
begin. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to begin somewhere. Like, and I'm gonna use an example of when we're in high school. Like at my senior year, I squatted 500, over 500, and I benched 325. Freshman year, I did not bench 325 and squat 500. Okay. Junior year, I didn't get it was a progress of all the years of working
You
those
bench
muscles
that
and
much,
getting there.
man?
Yeah,
Dang.
325 and squatted five. I
I
think it was
I I
550.
remember you squat. I'm dang, man, that's a lot.
Yeah, I was
We were
quite a
you
big boy.
McClintock had a pretty serious weight lift. We all worked pretty hard back in the day.
Yes, we did.
But
I look back and go like,
there are a lot
man,
of grunts going on in that
I'm
weight
like,
room back in the
that was, I was like, wow, I did that. I'm like, well, I'm glad I don't have any knee problems and all those. But so we got off task on that. One thing, so that's kind of like you got to start small. I mean, I
Yeah,
didn't do
yeah.
that, but like at church, our church has a thing called binge the Bible, and it's not binge the Bible. He came out and said, Pastor Darren came out and said, goes, we all have a problem reading the Bible daily. It's like, okay, do I do it? It becomes a task.
Yeah.
But he's like, he goes, so what we're gonna do? It's a 21 days every month. Binge the Bible. He goes every day for 21 days, and it's not like, okay, read this book of the Bible and this book of the Bible. You're like, oh my gosh, that's I got to read for 2 hours.
Yeah.
No, it's a little snippet from each pastor, of the church. Like Monday might be from Pastor Darren, Tuesday from Pastor Jenny, and that so each one does a different day, and then there's Bible verses. So it's read it, apply it. Okay,
Mhm.
so you read it and they tell you "Hey, this is how you apply this verse to the day, and you're reading some of the Bible. It's like you don't have to go and read Genesis and
All the way through, yeah.
So it was like, wow, that's a great way because he did what we're talking about. Apply it,
Mhm,
but don't go and try and read the whole Bible today. We're going to slowly work your way through the Bible with
mhm,
you
mhm,
and tell you how to apply it
mhm,
in easy terms.
mhm.
So, like Sheldon's saying, it's how you do it. Like if Stephen came in and told us something, this is what I need to do. This is what you need to do. Boom, and he's at this level, but he started here. He needs to tell us how he started.
Right,
And
right.
that's like teaching, like math teachers. A good math teacher can teach math at a low level.
Every level, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because if they come in and teach at their engineering level, you're like, dude, I'm not there. You
It's
got to
it's
go
that's
back.
that's what, the brilliance of right? Taking a complex system or complex concept and making it super simple.
Yes,
That's when somebody's mastered something, right? They can take something that's really complicated and actually make it sound really simple,
yes,
right?
hmm
That's that's the beauty of that 4 quadrant system, right? It's so simple, you know?
yeah.
It's
It's
ju it's
and like me, I knew. Okay, I'm in the high pause. Yeah, it's great going on. All of a sudden, I felt myself getting stressed and
Yeah,
not happy about doing my job.
yeah.
I'm like, hey, that's the quad. Oh, I just jumped a quadrant into the high negative. Whoa, stop.
Yep. We had a little brief glitch there, but, Dave, you were talking about, applying, Stephen's 4 quadrants and going from your doing stuff and you're in a high
Yeah.
positive and then
Yeah, so yeah, I was at work all excited about this, but I jumped in. I felt myself jump into that high negative and
yeah,
going like, whoa,
right.
that's what Steven was talking about. And
Yeah.
so I slowly, and it's not a going like, okay, what do I need to change here right now? And it's like, what's causing me to stress? First off, it made me stop. Like we've
Mhm.
always talked about, slow
Stop, drop,
yourself
and
down,
breathe.
stop, drop, and breathe.
Yep.
And that allows your brain to go like, okay, what's all this stuff going on? I'm like,
Mhm,
slow down.
mhm,
So I used that technique
mhm,
as I realized I was in the high negative
mhm.
and said, okay, so you got these things going on. What do you need to do right now?
Yep.
What's important? So that's when I adjusted and had us
Kinda
not do stuff.
kinda prioritized
Yeah,
everything. Well, it took a minute to rather
exactly.
than in your head, you're thinking, "I gotta do everything." It's like, "No, no, 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 no. What's
No,
the number 1 most important thing? Let's just
yeah.
do that first."
And even though I was stressing a little bit because it's like, oh my God, this stuff is all last minute. It's not really a last minute, but it's last minute coming to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm taking it in as last minute, but it's not. And that started stressing me out. It's like, wait, no matter what it is, this needs to be done.
Yeah.
Okay. And they usually say, sorry, this is last minute, but blah, blah, blah. But these really weren't last minute because like the thing was on Thursday. I was getting stuff on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And
Mhm.
then at that point, I was like, okay, Wednesday, we got to stop.
Yep.
Okay. Thursday, we
Yep.
got to stop, people.
Yep.
But we got it all done. It's just that, and when I let myself, one, stop, drop, and breathe, once I realized I was in the high negative, it's like, okay, you need to stop, drop, and breathe and let your brain just start
Mhm.
realize what do I need to do right now?
And essentially from, if those of you who watched Steven's podcast, last week, um, Stop, drop, and breathe is something that we've talked about on podcasts, right? It's kind of the same, is similar. He was talking about doing the 2 minutes of nasal breathing, right? It's
Yes.
essentially the same idea, right? It's
Hmm.
just taking that moment to slow the breathing. We talk about dropping into the heart
Hmm.
space, breathing. So you're getting out of your mind into your heart,
Yep.
into your felt body, right? And breathing through things and
Which is
allowing
what that his 2 minutes of nasal
that
breathing.
does.
You're actually doing that. You're not
Yes.
saying stop, drop, and breathe, but
Yes.
you've actually stopped,
Mhm.
focusing on your breathing, so
Mhm.
you've already dropped in.
Yeah.
So
And so again, the beauty of what we're kind of trying to talk about here is whatever the practice is,
mhm.
you have to practice it, right?
Yes. Yep.
Whatever the
Whatever makes
practice
you
is,
feel good, do
yeah,
it.
yeah, you
Yeah.
got to do it, and you have to practice it, and you'll get better at it, right? Nobody
Mm-mm.
starts benching 325, right? They start at benching 100, and you work
Yep.
your way up.
Yeah.
And that's how it works, right? And if it's kind of an interesting thing because people understand that when we talk about physical stuff, like, yeah, do
Mhm.
you think you can run a marathon today? No, but could you run around the block? Maybe, you know what I mean? And we're going to
Yep.
start where we are, and we're going to work our way up. People can understand that when it's physical stuff, but they have a hard time understanding it when it's like stress or
Yes.
peace, internal peace. It's like, hey, you don't have it now, but you never have. So why do you think you should have it all the time now? You got to start where you are though. But can you get
Mhm.
peace for a minute right now? You know,
Exactly.
just anchor that in and go to the next minute. You know what I mean? And build our way up, and eventually, you get better at handling life, all of it, right?
Oh, totally. Totally.
But you have to have tools, right? And so that was the whole point of everything we've been doing on this podcast, is to give people as many tools as possible. I think,
Mhm.
this was a beautifully simple and powerful tool. So we're encouraging everybody to try that one, but to
Yeah.
try them all, any of them, right?
Yeah. And I'll say, listen to people as they talk to you because
Mhm.
they may have ideas that
Mhm.
not us, you may be
Mhm.
in daily life. We were talking, Shell and I were talking before the show that my boss, Becky, shout out to Becky Vogel. She's awesome. She's a bomb diggity of bosses. I was sitting there with a work situation, kind of like at the librarian meeting at one point, and she and she kind of laughed at me. She goes, "Let them." She goes, "Let them." I look at her, I go, "What?" She goes, "Just let them, let me." And that came from a book, "Let Them." Okay, the "Let Them" theory by Mel
Robbins.
Robbins,
Yeah.
and and it's just like at that point she's like, if they want to do it, let them do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought about it. And I go, wow. So that means so I'm letting them do something that I was part of at one point. It's like if they want to be in charge of it, let them. Guess what that did? That opened me up to other things I could do and not
Mhm.
worry about that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't in a okay, fine, I'll let them do it. It wasn't in an anger thing. It's like okay, let them.
Yeah.
And that took it out of my control because I can't control that. And so that whole let them theory is giving up control of things you wanted to control that you can't control.
Yeah, did you wanna hold the book up?
What's that?
You wanna hold the book up?
Oh, yes. The,
People who are watching this can see it.
yeah,
So, Mel Robbins is, there you
there
go.
it is.
I don't really know who she is. Like, she's got a podcast that's pretty huge, right? And she interviews all kinds of cool people. Um, and she's talking about best practices for life, right? And this is
Yeah,
again kind of emphasizing what we've been talking about in this particular episode about different perspectives. When you read that, I haven't read the book, but it seems to me like a lot of the principles she's talking about are very Buddhist. And you said that she actually references Buddhism and Stoicism and
yes,
stuff like that, right? And
totally.
and what was the other one? Anyway, so she mentions that
Mhm.
there are different practices from different traditions that have these concepts in them. But when she cooks it all down into this idea of, hey, let them, they want to do it, let
Yeah,
them. They're all caught up in whatever, let them. That is a very, and when you were talking about it before we were recording, I was like, that sounds very Buddhist. And you're like, oh yeah, she references that.
she references Buddhism, yeah.
It's non-attachment, right? In Buddhism, they call it non-attachment. They'll be attached to, and but when you bring it into the modern world with modern language and modern expressions, you go, let them. You know what I mean?
No, let 'em
That
do it.
lands differently for people, right? And
Mhm.
so, again, this whole idea of different ideas, different ways of sharing things, different stories, and hopefully one will land where you can say, you know what, I'm going to use that, and let me try to use that
Yeah,
that practice, and let that deepen,
And
whatever. Some
I want
people
to.
get, oh, it's Buddhism. I'm a Christian. I can't do that. It's just like, well, well, when they say let them, people can do that, right? And they can
Yeah.
say, oh, that's not a conflict, right? So
That's it.
there's,
And this is, I wanted to read this one part. It is kind of to let them, because she brings it into perspective of family, friends, work, everything. She kind of,
mhm,
awesome.
mhm,
Um, and it's like as a parent, you can then say, well, my child's not raising that kid correctly.
mm,
Well, that I can't control that.
yeah,
I can, but that's too controlling. It's
right,
like I really can't control that. So let them raise their kid the way they raise them. You know, um, I love this little line from her. It's kind of two lines really. It says, "The time that you have with people that you love is like a melting ice cube. We can't stop the ice cube from melting. The only thing that we can do is make the most of the time that we have with the people that we love while we have it." I was
mhm,
like, wow. I mean,
yeah,
I know that's kumbaya. We talk about that all the time, but it really is. Instead of trying to control things, just say, let them. I mean, if that's the way they are, that's the way they act, then let them.
yeah,
And in friendships, in relationships, as you are starting a relationship or friendships and you see them and you're saying, let them be that, as you say, let them, see if that fits into your realm of what you're looking for. And if not, okay,
mhm,
that's
mhm,
not the person for me,
mhm,
because I'm having to let them do
yep,
things that are different. Not that they're wrong. That's just their life. That's their person. It's just you have to let go of control of
yep.
making them want to fit into our mold.
Beautiful.
So
It popped in my head, instead of trying to control, situations and people and places and things, try to enjoy people, places, and things.
yes.
You know what I mean? Can
Hmm.
when your head is in this, "Oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong," "It should be like this, and they should be doing this instead of that," you're in judgment all the time, and you are no longer present with that person and just enjoying what's happening in that moment, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a big believer that's like that whole, the tree of knowledge is good and evil, right?
Yeah.
Adam takes that thing and now he knows what's right. And so he's going around judging the whole world. Oh, you shouldn't have done that like that. You should have done it like this, right? And that judgment is what brings you out of the heart, which is
Hmm.
love
Yeah.
and joy and presence, right? So can we get out of uh, attempting to control, which is an aspect of fear, and get into the place of presence, beingness, joy, right?
Yeah.
Which is love, right? So out of fear and into love is really the essence of all of that. Um, and you know, again, Stephen's four quadrants. What a beautiful way to remind you of that. This Mel Robbins, let them. What a beautiful reminder that these are
Yeah.
different ways that you can access these things. But like we were saying earlier, you have to practice it.
Yeah.
You have to
Exactly.
bring some level of awareness that, hey, I'm freaking out right now, right? And that's why I always say the awareness is actually the first key. Because if you're like, if you were in that, um, at that work situation, we had the deadline on Thursday and all the pressure starting to build, and you're not aware that you're freaking out, you
Hmm.
could just keep freaking out. And the next thing you know, you're yelling at people, right?
Yeah.
And that's what happens. You just
Hmm.
keep going, blah, 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 and you switch from the high positive into a high negative, and then you end up in a low negative or whatever, or high negative where you're screaming at people, and then you're in a low
Yeah.
negative. Why did I do that? I feel like
Because
shit.
now you're on
You
your
know,
shit. Yep.
you
Hmm.
know, and that's what Stephen was talking about, right? But you have to be aware. You have to bring awareness, which is why those pattern interrupts and the alarms and the checking in when they're ambulance hats and all those things matter so much. These little simple things matter so much
Yeah.
to bringing a sense of presence of checking in with yourself. Where am I right now?
Hmm.
Whatever that is, whatever that tool is. Um, so, I don't know. I feel like it's like kind of the summary, right? It's like, hey, you
And
know,
one life example from me, I think we talked about it before, but me this summer going to Disney World. So it was with a lot of people. I think there
mm,
were, I don't know, about 30 of us, if not
mhm, mhm,
more. And we're all in one house, Airbnb, which was awesome. It was so much fun. But there were a lot of type A controllers. We're all teachers, we're all leaders,
yeah,
I was like, okay. And me, I'm going on a trip. Yep. Here's where we're going. I'm in charge. But it was kind of cool because when I got there, I was going like, I need to step back and let them. I didn't
yeah,
even realize I was doing the let them. It's
yeah,
like, but do I need to tell who's going where? Nope. Let them say who goes in which van. Let
mm,
them say what we're doing each day.
yep,
Let them say this. And it was all about stepping back and not having to worry about control or
Yep.
upset that they're in control.
Yep.
And I got to enjoy the entire week at Disney World.
How beautiful is that?
And so I realized that now. I was like, I mean, then I realized it because I was like, hey, this is kind of cool not having to make any decisions.
Yep.
I mean, I had to make my own decisions, but for
Yep.
them, at certain points, it was some things did get stressful
Mhm.
throughout that, and we talked about them a little bit. Uh, but at that point, I didn't have all these tools,
Mhm.
and so I wish I had some of those tools then.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm okay with what happened, and we had talks. Okay, my
Mhm.
daughter, son-in-law, and I, we had talks about some things, but it was good that we were able to have those talks. So that whole part about that story is just like be willing to give up the control
Yep.
and just enjoy and follow.
Yep.
Because I mean, if I want to control it and Sheldon wants to control it, we're going to butt heads.
Mhm.
Okay? If we're not really discussing things,
Mhm.
we want to talk about it and just say, hey, let him have control.
Mhm.
And if you ask me for suggestions, I'll give them to you.
Yep.
So yeah, so it's kind of that. Sorry, I stopped you from going into the summary of stuff.
Nope.
So
Nope. So that's a good summary too, right? But it's there's a lot of kind of principles there about just as you're listening to the podcast, right? We appreciate that you're sharing the journey with us, right? And what have you picked? What
yeah,
tool have you picked? And how
mhm,
have you applied it? And how are you practicing it? And again, nobody's perfect, so but pick something. If you've listened to the different interviews that we've had and the different stories that we've had in the podcast, right? And are you doing something? Are you practicing stopping, dropping, and breathing? Are you practicing the 4 quadrants? Are you practicing we've had so many different stories about how people have approached their pursuit of peace, and happiness, and
and like Corey went through a real hard personal life story, and had a great story how she got through it. And so that if you're going through something very deep, okay, and that might be one you want to go back and listen to,
yeah,
which we're going to on soon again.
yeah,
Awesome.
little
But
little,
which hint
uh,
hint, you may want to go back and listen to her first
yeah,
interview
hint,
from the
hint.
next
She's
one.
coming
We're
back.
gonna
She's
you'll be able
coming
to
back soon, so that'll be awesome.
yeah.
But yeah, we've so anyway, that's I
Learn
guess
to apply. Yeah. So anything that you've learned, now apply it. If it works for you, okay. If the 4 quadrants works, apply it.
yep,
If the stop, drop, and breathe, apply it.
yep.
Maybe the 2-minute breathing,
Golden,
do a 2-minute nasal breathing. That's fine.
yeah,
That works
apply
for
it.
you. You know. So this episode is more about applying. Make
Yeah,
sure whatever you learned or whatever works for you to apply it. Make
yep,
an effort to apply it.
yep.
So otherwise, it will never work.
Yeah. You won't experience that personal transformation and that lasting peace and happiness, right? If you don't apply any of it, right? It
Yep.
takes some practice, whatever that is, whatever aligns with you, vibes with you, whatever feels like, oh, that makes sense to me, pick it and
Yeah.
then go work with it.
Enjoy that daily personal peace,
Yep.
okay, and happiness, and that'll work to more and more to where your life becomes more helpful.
Yep.
And on the one real note, because we always talk about driving on the they them, I thought about it on the they them.
And we're back. We had a little glitch again with,
Sorry, we have this beautiful Arizona weather making everything a mess over here. No snow, all sunshine, beautiful weather. I guess you just can't have internet that often. Sorry for all those that are back east. That's just my little push. I was talking about one quick story. We always talk about driving, so I always put that into some of our things because that stresses life out for a lot of people. And it's funny because when I was thinking about the let them, I'll have to apply that now because I was at home just this yesterday thinking about it. Um, if you're driving on the freeway and you come up on somebody who's driving slow, it's just like you try to get them to go faster. You're trying to control them. It's like, no, let them go slow.
Yeah.
Just go around them. If someone's going fast, let them go by you, and you're like, let them. They
Yeah.
want to go fast. Let them go fast. So
Okay.
that's the letting go of that control and that stress.
Yeah.
So hopefully that could let it go. So
It's a place of allowance, which is an
yeah.
open-hearted place where you're allowing everything to happen the way it is, and that's okay. And then you're just flowing with it,
Mhm.
which is super cool. I was also going to say that when we were talking about all these different techniques, different styles, different things, pick one that you like and then work with it, right? And so
Yeah.
that it becomes more than just a concept in your mind, but an embodied practice, right? That it's the same in we're talking about physical. Sometimes it's easier for people to understand. In martial arts, in the martial arts world, it was the same thing. They used to say, people would jump around from different schools and they would become a jack of all trades and a master of none, right? Well,
Oh,
they would say in martial arts, it's like, okay, if I'm going to learn taekwondo, a lot of kicking based stuff, long distance, long range kicking, right? Master that. You have to master that, practice
mhm.
it, know it, embody it. And then you can try other styles that might complement it, you know? So
Mhm.
taekwondo is all kicking. Well, maybe now you learn boxing. You've mastered the kicking. Now you learn the boxing. So now you know what I mean? Oh, I might learn grappling because now, you know what I mean? And that's what
Uh-huh.
the mixed
Yep.
martial arts, but you have to practice and master something. So with regard to this stuff, and everything we've been talking about, pick one that you like and master it. Pick one that
Mhm.
you like and work with it. You practice
Good
it,
call. I
embody it
like that.
till it's embodied in your system, till you know how to use it. If you're going to use the four quadrants, do you have that awareness of what quadrant you're in at all times during the day? That's what Stephen was saying. It's like, oh, he's a master. Like he's aware. He doesn't even have to have the alarm anymore. He's aware. Where am I? Am I high
Yeah.
negative, high positive, whatever? Oh, I can feel I switched, right? And then he does a practice to bring himself back. So working with what suits you, what feels right for you, but work with it and allow yourself that time to struggle with it too, right? Because every practice takes a little bit. You got to work yourself through stuff. Um,
'Cause you may
and
yeah.
and we'd love to hear
Sorry.
about it, right? So if you do
Yeah,
something like that, let us know in the comments or share
yeah.
with us or share this with a friend or something like that. We
Definitely
would
share
appreciate
because
that.
we don't know. You never know who's needing this information
Yep.
out there. And go back and listen to other episodes, obviously, because this is just about how to apply.
Mhm.
But like Sheldon may like Taekwondo. I may like jujitsu. It's okay.
Yep.
That's okay. So you may try one
Mhm.
application that we have. Your
Mhm.
friend may try something else. That's
Yep.
great. And
Yep.
then you can try others that may, hey, that helps. Like
Yep.
me, I've already tried the four quadrants and the they them.
Yep.
I mean, let them. So it's kind of like that. I always say they them. It's kind of English, isn't it? Let them. And
Yep.
so you got to find out what fits you, as
Yep.
Sheldon's saying, and then work on applying that. And if that
Mhm.
doesn't work for you, then find something else and work
Yep.
on applying it. But if it works, great. And
Yep.
that becomes a natural thing in your life.
Yep.
And you can slowly add more things to it.
Yep.
So
So I
that's
think
it.
that's all we got. That's a wrap.
Yep.
There's your homework. Figure
Yep.
out what works, practice it, let us know, share it with somebody else. We appreciate you guys following us, on this podcast and sharing in the journey. And we hope that you find some peace and some happiness. And until next time,
Yep.
thanks for listening. We love you.
Have a
Take care.
great week. Keep a smile on.